Have you noticed how females, particularly modern females, really attempt to try and tell men what they should want? Now, I did a video on this recently, but I wanted to speak on something specific that I noticed. When men are telling females their preferences, it's very simple. Men say, hey, this is what I want, and I want this because I'm a guy, or this is just who I like, what I like, whatever, right? But the funny thing that I've noticed is that when modern females tell men their preferences, men don't do what modern females do to them when they talk about their preferences. But I'm going to explain something specific to you, so stay with me here. Have you noticed that when modern females tell men their preferences, men will say to them, not that they shouldn't want that, but that whatever it is that they want, here are the percentages that you have, chance wise, of getting that. That's the difference in modern females telling men things and men telling them things. Because when a modern female hears a man's preference, guess what she does? She doesn't say, well, these are your preferences. Here's the percentage chance you have of getting that. She says, you shouldn't want it. Think about that difference. Men will say, hey, you want these things. Here is what you have to do to get them if you can. Or they'll say, based on what I'm seeing from you, what it is that you have to offer, looks wise, whatever else, I don't think you have a high chance of getting that. Your probability is probably 10%, which it wouldn't even be a probability. It would be a possibility. But they will say, oh no, of course I'm going to get it because all of them think they're special. But when they say that to men, when men are like, hey, this is what our preferences are, and their response to men is about what they think, it's never, well, here are the percentages. You know what? You're a guy who, you don't look too great, and you don't have too much money, or I'm not sure that you have the member that females would want, the whole 6 thing. They say, wait a minute, I don't like the fact that you want that. Why do you want that? Then you start having a whole discussion about that. Have you ever noticed on podcasts where females will say, this is what they want, and men will say, oh, okay, cool. And they'll go on by that. Okay. And if they get to somebody who's really delusional, they'll say, what? When a man who makes $500,000, are you a female who can offer a man who makes that much money something? Then all you hear is crickets. Because most of them can't. But when they say, okay, what is it that you all want from a female? The males will say, this is what we want. And you'll notice that it's instant cackling. It's just all of a sudden becomes, and you're like, what the heck? When you told them what you wanted, they just said, hey, okay, cool, or whoa, that's a lot. I don't know if you're worth that or if you can command that. But when they said it's, then they start hitting you with all of the classics. Insecure, misogynist, all of this different stuff. Have you noticed that? It's funny because when that occurs and men try to explain to them that they just did that they just went off and did all of that just because of a preference, what will they say? Well, I'm just saying, you shouldn't want something like that. Don't you want something more special in your life? In other words, males tell the females the percentage chance they have of getting it. Females tell the males, you shouldn't want it. It's males saying, you should want what you want, but understand if you can get it or not. And it's females saying, you should want what we want you to want. In other words, we want autonomy, but we don't want you to have autonomy. That's the humongous difference. Moral of the story, good man fam? Having preferences as a male in the West is more than likely going to always get you attacked.